Happy Friday and welcome back to this week's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young and like always there's a ton to cover, so I'll get right to it. We had yet another exhilarating week in the NFL. Two of the top offenses in the league, the Baltimore Ravens and Washington Commanders, set up for a well-balanced matchup. While rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels continued to lead Washington's offense pretty well, the Ravens' run game is ultimately what decided this game. Derrick Henry yet again dominated on the ground, running for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, leading the Ravens to a 30-23 win. While this game was close, there were two fairly surprising blowouts. First, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveled to New Orleans to face the rival Saints. The Saints kept this game close when they scored 27 points in the second quarter, but unfortunately, that would be the only time they would score all game. The Bucs, on the other hand, scored 51 points on the day. Quarterback Baker Mayfield dropped 325 yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 of which came from Chris Godwin, as the Bucs rolled past the Saints 51-27 and brought their record to 4-2. The other blowout of the day was a way more lopsided win. Remember I mentioned last week that Lions quarterback Jared Goff played a perfect game when he threw 0 interceptions or incompletions? Well, this hot streak continued as he went on to throw for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns, supplemented by David Montgomery running for 2 scores, as both led Detroit to roll over Dallas 47-9 on Sunday, handing the Cowboys a 4th consecutive lopsided loss at home. The Lions are now 4-1 and look like the top dog, or cat rather, in the NFL. While it was a great week on the field, what happened off the field earlier this week is what made it even better. 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers are now wearing new uniforms. The New York Jets have acquired wide receiver Davante Adams from the Raiders in exchange for a 2025 conditional 3rd-round pick. Adams, a 3-time first-team All-Pro and 6-time Pro Bowler, has just 18 catches, 208 yards, and 1 touchdown in 3 games for the Raiders this season. Adams played with Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers from 2014 to 2021, which was probably the main deciding factor for Adams when he requested a trade to the Jets a few weeks prior. In 8 seasons together, Rodgers and Adams combined for 669 receptions, 8,121 yards, and 73 touchdowns. So, this duo being back together might just be the spark the Jets needed to right the ship and get back to them winning games. The other big-name receiver that was dealt to a new team is Amari Cooper. The Buffalo Bills acquired Cooper in a trade Tuesday with the Cleveland Browns, adding a true number 1 wide receiver for star quarterback Josh Allen. Cooper, a 5-time Pro Bowl selection, has 691 receptions for 9,736 yards and 62 touchdowns in his 11-year career. This is also the 3rd time he's been traded. The Raiders traded him to the Cowboys in 2018, and Dallas traded him to the Browns in 2022. The Bills received Cooper and a 2025 6th-round draft pick for a 2025 3rd-round pick and a 7th-round selection in 2026. After recording a career-high 1,250 receiving yards in 2023, Cooper has struggled along with a Browns offense that's failed to score 20 points in each of its first 6 games. Cooper leads Cleveland with 250 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, but his 4.7 yards per target ranks 2nd worst in the NFL among qualifying pass catchers. Now, with an elite quarterback and a high-powered offense, Cooper's looking to get back into peak form. Anyway, it's yet again time to celebrate as I win a perfect 4-0 for the 2nd time in my picks this season. Last time I went undefeated, though, I performed horribly the next week, so hopefully I can break that cycle today. I'll go with the newly acquired Amari Cooper and the Buffalo Bills over the Tennessee Titans, the Colts over the struggling Miami Dolphins, the Falcons to keep it rolling against the Seahawks, and the Ravens to run for a win over the Bucs on Monday night. Last week in the NCAA was yet another one to remember. Arizona State upset number 16 Utah, Texas blew out Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry 34-3, number 3 Oregon narrowly held on in the final second to beat number 2 Ohio State, number 13 LSU beat number 9 Ole Miss in overtime, and a few top 10 teams, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, all came very close to being upset. I feel like I say this every week, but so far I haven't been wrong. This week has some huge matchups and a few games that have potential for an upset. One of the best games of the weekend, and one that has potential for an upset, will be number 7 Alabama heading to Knoxville to take on their conference rivals, number 11 Tennessee. Alabama is just slightly favored in this game, but Neyland Stadium in Tennessee is one of the toughest environments to play in all of college football. On top of that, Alabama has been upset by Vanderbilt and nearly upset by South Carolina in the past 2 weeks, so this week could be a win for the Volunteers. This game kicks off at 12:30 p.m. on ABC on Saturday. But the game of the week will come at 4:30 p.m. on ABC when the top team in the country, the Texas Longhorns, will host number 5 Georgia. Texas is sitting at a perfect 6-0, while Georgia is 5-1 after their heartbreaking last-second loss to Alabama a few weeks back. Texas has looked like an absolute powerhouse all season, but Georgia's angry and fighting their way back to the top spot, so this will be another can't-miss game. Moving away from all the football, we're still a few days away from finding out which two teams will be heading to the World Series. Game 1 of the National League Championship Series between the Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Mets began on Sunday, and the Dodgers made a statement in Game 1, winning 9-0. This was the largest shutout victory margin in Dodgers postseason history, also the Mets' most one-sided postseason shutout defeat. Game 2 was Monday night, and the Mets got some revenge. Francisco Lindor and Mark Vientos homered as the Mets pulled out a 7-3 victory, tying the NL Championship Series at a game apiece. With the series tied, Game 3 went back to New York. Apparently, these two teams came to an agreement before the series started that all of these games will be blowouts, and Game 3 was no different. The Dodgers were already up 4-0 in the 8th inning when, who else but Shohei Ohtani launched a 3-run home run. Another home run in the 9th by Max Muncy would seal the 8-0 win for LA. Game 4 was last night, and the Dodgers are now one win away from another World Series appearance. Game 5 will be today at 2:08 p.m. The Dodgers, who have the 6th most World Series titles with 7, are looking to return to the big stage after winning it all back in 2020. The Mets, on the other hand, last made it to the World Series in 2015, but haven't won a title since 1986 when they defeated the Red Sox in Game 7. In the American League, things started out pretty good for the New York Yankees. In Game 1 on Monday, they defeated the Cleveland Guardians at home in New York 5-2, then followed it up with a 6-3 win in Game 2. The Yankees were very quickly out to a 2-0 lead as Aaron Judge hit his first home run of the postseason in the 7th inning of Game 2. Judge led the Major League this season with 58 home runs and 144 RBIs. Game 3 of the ALCS was last night, and the Guardians managed to pick up a win at home in Cleveland, bringing the series to 2-1 and gaining some momentum. Game 4 of this series will be tonight at 5:08 p.m. The Guardians have not been to a World Series since their loss to the Cubs back in 2016, and the Yankees, even though they hold the record with 27 World Series titles, have not been back to the championship stage since defeating the Phillies back in 2009. No matter which two teams make it out of the championship series, the World Series begins next Friday, October 25th. The WNBA Finals between the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx is still going on. Minnesota pulled out a win in an overtime thriller in Game 1, followed by New York winning 80-66 in Game 2. So, the series was tied 1-1 heading into Game 3 on Wednesday. I thought Game 1 was a thriller, but this one was even better. The New York Liberty had clawed back from a 15-point first-quarter deficit thanks to a 30-point night from Breanna Stewart. They were still down 11 with just 2 minutes remaining in the game, and with just 3 seconds left, the game was tied. Stewart stepped back and from basically the midcourt logo, drilled a 28-foot three-pointer to put New York in the lead with just 1 second remaining. They would hold on to win, and New York is now just one game away from winning their first ever WNBA championship. Game 4 is set for tonight, and if needed, Game 5 will be on Sunday at 5 p.m. The 2024 NHL season has officially begun, and this weekend is jam-packed with games, including our Anaheim Ducks heading to Colorado tonight to take the ice against the Avalanche at 6 p.m. Then, the LA Kings will head just down the 5 freeway to Anaheim to face the Ducks on Sunday at 5 p.m. So, between the NFL, the NCAA, the MLB, WNBA, the NHL, the NBA, Formula One, and more, there's no shortage of sports to watch. So, be sure to check out as much as you can and come right back in 2 weeks for more news, updates, and highlights. There'll be no Sports Corner next week since I'll be on vacation, so enjoy your week full of all the entertainment the sports world has to offer. I'm Cole Young, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.